Hey guys, we are going to do a couple more slides on our 13 colonies PowerPoint. I'll talk through them, make a couple notes. Somewhere inside I'll give you your assignment, so be listening for that. And we can go ahead and just get started. So let me get to our new slide. So yesterday we read a lot about New England colonies, colonists and Native Americans, life in New England and what that was like. And today we're going to talk about New England's resources. So let's go ahead and get started with that. New England resources. Natural resources were more important than crops in New England. The area was rich with natural resources such as thick forests, countless rivers, and the Atlantic Ocean that ran along the coast. The ocean was full of whales and fish. Whales were hunted for their blubber, which was turned into oil for lamps. Blubber on whales is kind of like fat on humans or animals. They were able to turn it into oil for their lamps so that they could burn the oil and keep lights on at night. They didn't have electricity like we do now, so if they wanted to read late at night or do something after the sun went down, they had to have lamps and things. The Appalachian Mountains provided the colonists with plenty of trees for lumber. The colonists used the lumber to build their houses, boats, and sawmills. Harbors were built up and down the coastline, making New England a busy seaport. Lumber was used to build huge ships, which allowed colonists to trade goods among the colonies and across the ocean to England. They became known as expert shipbuilders. So they used wood for most of their structures, like houses and boats and things. New England economy. Many merchants, artisans, and fishermen lived there, providing goods for trading and exporting. They traded lumber, fish, maple syrup, horses, and furs. Beavers were prized for their warm plush fur. Fur trading depended almost totally on the Native Americans' supply. The Native Americans were very skilled at hunting and trapping animals, so the colonists worked with them to expand their fur trading business. Mid-Atlantic colonies. So that was the New England colonies. This is a focus on the Mid-Atlantic colonies. Many people in the Mid-Atlantic colonies were Quakers. The Quakers were a group that didn't like the rules of the Church of England. They thought everyone should be allowed to have their own religious beliefs. Many of them, led by William Penn, left England to settle in the New World. They settled in Pennsylvania. There, they practiced religious freedom and welcomed others to do so too. People from all over Europe came to live there. Quakers followed three main principles: honesty, simplicity, and peace. They were honest, hardworking people. Most members of this religious group led simple lives. They lived in small, simple houses, wore plain clothes, and ate food grown from the land. They believed in total honesty in all areas of life. People knew they could trust them, so they did very well in business and banking. Many Quakers during the colonial times became very wealthy. Quakers were against war and violence of any kind. Many were jailed for refusing to serve in the military or fight in the American Revolutionary War. They believed it was wrong to fight for any reason. They worked peacefully for women's rights and for the rights of Native Americans. The Mid-Atlantic colonies were made up of people from all over Europe and from many different cultures. This meant also that there were several different religions practiced there. The Mid-Atlantic colonies was made up of four colonies: New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. As you can see, most of those states look about like they do today. Some of the landforms and things changed, or the borders for the states changed. Life in the Mid-Atlantic. The rolling hills and mild climate were ideal for farming. The fertile soil was rich with nutrients, so many crops grew well there. Wheat, corn, barley, pumpkins, and potatoes were a few of the popular ones. Many farmers grew a surplus or an extra supply of wheat that they were then able to sell. Wheat, barley, and rye were used to make bread. Farmers shipped their extra goods down the river to sell and trade with other colonies. Most of their homes were small houses made from wood and mud. They were very dark inside because they didn't have any windows. Wealthier families lived in larger brick homes or log houses. Life in the Mid-Atlantic colonies was hard. Most people were farmers working long hours in the fields. Men, women, and children planted the fields and harvested the crops. Okay, here is your secret assignment stuck in the middle of this video. I would like you to tell me if you had to be a farmer and you had to plant crops and harvest them, what crop would you want to plant and grow, and why? So of all the plants that you can crop, do a little research if you want to, but which plant would you want to harvest and why? Okay, on to the next slide. Girls also helped out with the household chores like cooking and sewing. Farmers started using plows to dig up their fields during colonial times. The wooden plow was attached to a team of oxen. Like in New England, children attended a one-room schoolhouse where they were taught religion, reading, writing, and manners. Many children went on to become apprentices to learn valuable skills and trades such as shoemaking, printing, quilting, and blacksmithing. Young apprentices lived with a master craftsman who trained them for several years. So being an apprentice is a little bit like being an intern, or maybe one of you in the past has had a student teacher who's someone who's learning from somebody else who's a master at it, and they're practicing underneath them before so that they can become a master as well. So that's kind of what an apprentice is. Mid-Atlantic resources. The Mid-Atlantic colonies had many natural resources available to them. The most important one was the rich, fertile soil that was excellent for agriculture. With rich soil and a milder climate than New England, the Mid-Atlantic colonists became successful farmers. They grew grains like wheat, barley, rye, and flax. These grains were made into bread. The middle colonies became known as the breadbasket colonies. There were also many forests and trees in the nearby Appalachian Mountains for providing timber. The middle colonies produced iron ore products by melting down the iron. Blacksmiths and silversmiths melted the iron to shape it into valuable tools, plows, kettles, cooking pots, axes, and nails. So there were lots of different resources that they were able to make using the resources that they had. Farmers depended on nearby towns and cities for selling and trading their crops, grains, fruits, and vegetables. These market towns were often located on rivers or the coastline for easier transporting of goods. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, became the largest and wealthiest city in the 13 colonies. Okay, we'll stop there for today. Go ahead and submit your assignment on Seesaw. Don't need to send me an email this time. Just go ahead and reply to this with a note with your answer to the assignment. Good luck, guys.